Workshop on sustainability. This is, of course, session one. If you are wondering what we are going to do, I'm going to talk about it. First and foremost, I think you should not be, I think some of you may be concerned, and we recognize that at IUC that all of you have academic load. The first session is of 2 hours. All the remaining sessions will be for 1 hour. Okay, so you don't have to worry that you'll have to spend 2 hours in each session. No, we also want to keep it short. And the second thing is, the first one is for 2 hours because I want to cover certain things in terms of the context. I want to share the data on the survey, which you have all responded to, and certain other things which I want to talk about. So I'll take approximately half an hour to do that, and then we'll start off with our first session on the topic, what it is. So let me just introduce myself, and I just put it together so that you can read in case if there is an audio issue with any one of you. But otherwise, my name is Piyush. I prefer to be called as Piyush. You don't have to call me sir. Sir to me is British. Feel free to call me Piyush. There's no issue with me. Okay. And I'm going to address you by first name too. So I hope you don't get offended by that. Uh, and just a brief introduction. I completed my PhD in 1991, so long time back. I'm basically trained in mechanical engineering, and my current engagement, I am actually retired from full employment. So I volunteer for different organizations, IUC being one of them, on behalf of whom I'm conducting this workshop as a part of that organization. I think all of you are familiar with IUC. There are a couple of others which are listed there. Reliance Foundation, of course, you would have heard. So my engagements are essentially on a volunteer basis. And I prefer to, rather than talk about, my entire history, what did I do for last 1 year? And, you know, I want this to be interactive, okay? So, and also share whatever your experience is. So one of the things, of course, I've learned over the professional life is I had a lot of mentors who helped me a lot. And one of them actually told me when I joined GE was, Piyush, make sure that you are adding something to your resume every year, which means you are doing something of impactful. So I prefer to talk about last 1 year, what I did. So, I did workshop on mentoring and sustainability in ICT 2025. I met a couple of your faculties there, Arun being one of them, I remember. And then I also did a session on course design because we have consortium members, as you know, in IUC. So we do sort of faculty enclaves in each zone. We have 5 zones, northwest, south, and central. Uh, East, of course, East, we don't have many members as of now. And so I did one session there because I had taken a training in Ahmedabad University on course design. They have a Center for Future Learning, just for your information. They do a lot of work on teaching too. And currently I have 5 mentees. Their association I have listed there, IIT Mandi and IIT Hamirpur, and so on. I think more important than that is the office hours. As I said, I would expect a lot of discussions. It could be during the workshop, and I think all of us will be pressed for time, so may not happen. But my office asks us any day, just give me a day's notice, and I'll be there for you. Okay. And if it is a team, because I'll be giving you some assignments on the team, if it is a team which wants to speak to me, discuss something, feel free to do so. Just let me know one day in advance, and I will come back to you on WhatsApp or email, whatever communication channel you use. So that's a short introduction. And let me jump to how this session is organized. I'll be taking about 10 minutes setting the context. I think it is important. You may be aware, but for the sake of completeness, as also, so that we are all on the same page, I will go through it. Then we'll talk about results of the survey and expectation settings. You have, of course, shared your expectations, and I'm very thankful to you for that. And I'll discuss some of them. I will also talk to you about what could be covered in this and what cannot be. And I think that's where setting the context becomes important. Then we'll jump into the main subject on sustainability. 20 minutes. There'll be a team exercise along with the debrief. So the total duration is 40. I'll use 10 minutes to discuss the first assignment. It's an individual assignment. I think this will be the only individual assignment. Rest of them will be all team. And the last one is, of course, just the summary of our session. By the way, I didn't tell you, but is it okay with all of you if we wait for the questions? I will wait at every step to open up for questions. Okay. One way is, of course, you can ask me question as I'm going through. I would prefer that I cover certain portion and then we pause and you have questions, you can ask questions. Are you guys all okay with that? Just show by hand, are you okay with that? You know how to react on Zoom? If not, I'll go through it so that it's easier for us to carry out the session. Okay, so let me start with setting the context itself. And for the sake of easiness, are you all familiar with using chat box, right? Yes or no? At least tell me that. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are comfortable.
Okay, excellent. So what I want you to do is just tell me, and I've come out of the slide view because I want to see your responses in the chat box. Just tell me how many of you had actually read SDGs or being aware of that before the session. Just say yes or no. Okay, I'll just take 1 minute. If you can quickly respond yes or no. Before this session, that's the criteria. Okay, excellent. So a lot of you have actually read and were aware of this before this session. Excellent. Thank you. So I think most of you have responded. Yes, you have. Good to see that. And the reason I asked is actually, I'll tell you why I asked that question. In setting the context, I think, of course, Ramco IT approached IUC that we want to create awareness about sustainabilities and SDGs on campus and actually incorporate in the curricula as well as do other things. So that was the brief given to us. I've just captured it in one line. It, of course, more than that, awareness being the one thing. And then, of course, we worked on it. Karthikeyan has been working, thankful to him for with IUC, with me especially. And we put together a proposal. And this is what the outcome of the proposal was. So there'll be about 5 or 6 such sessions. For those of you who joined late, the first session is for 2 hours. As you can see, rest of them are all 1 hour. The dates are listed there, but we are flexible. If you have something coming up in your campus, which is going to take up your time, we will move it, not an issue. I think important thing is whenever you attend this session, just have undivided attention to it. That's all. 1 hour is all we are going to ask. So in the very first session, which we are going to cover today, those are the topics which we are going to list, and I'll talk more about it later. Then we will move to STEM because, as you'll see, the next slide probably is the learning outcomes, which actually includes whatever expectations some of you have expressed, some of you have not. Then we will move. So we'll discuss about these sessions as we go on. The important thing is that rest of the sessions will be 1 hour each, not more than that. And the dates are listed here. As I said, Karthikeyan is the point of contact for me, so I work with him on the dates. So that's really the context. The important thing to note here is, because some of you have expressed that you would like to have a deep understanding of SDG. Now, it's not possible to do so, whatever the topics we are covering here, in 5 to 6 sessions. I hope you appreciate that. If we have to really have understanding of 17 SDGs in depth, I think 5 or 6 sessions will be required just to do that. So I just wanted to have this context in front of you that this is what we're going to cover, which is what has been worked out with their leadership. So bear with us. But Whenever it is possible, as I said, we can do outside the workshop and discuss individually or in a group on a phone call or Zoom call, whatever suits you. Okay. And the expectation is that once you have gone through these 5 or 6 sessions, post workshop, you will carry this forward uh, to all the students on campus and even beyond. If you look at the stakeholders which are involved in the sustainability development goals, which we will talk about in one of the sessions. So that's the expectation, and that's why it is limited to 5 to 6 sessions. The learning outcomes, as you know, I'm not going to read through it, and I would say if you want to read it through, you can read it through it. But your main stakeholder is, of course, students, right? We are there for the students, and so the first thing is, what can we do with the students on this topic? Of course, one is, which comes immediately to your mind, is how do I incorporate SDGs in my curricula? So that's one of the things which will be covered in this. You'll be able to do that. The other one, and again, some of you have expressed that, you would like to have sort of on examples, case studies, things of that sort. Experiential learning, if I have to just say in 2 words. I think your campus would be a live lab, and that's my aim, that you will be able to apply some of these concepts uh, on campus. And one of the things which you can achieve is carbon neutrality. Now, at this point, you may know what is this carbon neutrality. Don't worry, we'll discuss about it. And you may be aware of it since you have most of you have read the SDGs. So that's basically the learning outcomes of these 5 to 6 sessions, which will be covered. And at this point, and then I'll pause if you have any questions. As far as learning framework is concerned, as to how we are going to achieve it, as you will appreciate, it goes from individual, it can go to campus, community, district, city, state, all the way to the nation, and all the way to the planet for that matter. And one of thing, by the way, how many of you are actually aware of Bloom's taxonomy? Again, we will just go to chat, and if you can please just say yes or no, I'll appreciate it. Excellent. Excellent. You guys are wonderful. Very quick to respond. So you've seen my slide, although it was in a. So Bloom's taxonomy is something which we at IUC love it. Something which it sort of gives you a nice framework to develop learning. It's essentially the different stages of learning and what skills and capabilities you develop. You are all familiar with it. So we are going to do the same thing here. I would say that the top one, which is create, may not happen during workshop, during 5 or 6 sessions, but certainly it will happen later on. And how we are going to do it is basically, I'm not going to talk too much in each of the 1 hour sessions. Anyone has an issue? No. By the way, I'm not looking at chat, okay? So if there is something which you want my attention to, just raise your hand and we can speak. I can't continuously look at the chat at this point. So sorry. So concept is something which I'm going to talk about, and then there will be team exercise. And one of the things you will understand, and you would have seen the group formation, is sustainability is multidisciplinary. So if you want to implement on campus, whether it is through curricula or through projects, that's one of the things which you will come across, or you will learn that you can really create a lot of students project. Even you can do your own project. It is multidisciplinary. So you have to break your, sort of typical chimneys, I call that, mechanical, electrical, AIDS and CS and business and English. We will have to work it together. This is not a, of course, there are specialties and expertise required at each stage, depending upon which SDG you are addressing. But by and large, the sustainability is a multidisciplinary game. So team exercises, therefore, are important. And I have formed the teams Maximum number of team is 5, and the others are in 4, and they are multidisciplinary as far as I could do it. And I'll talk more about how the teams have been formed so that you are comfortable with that. There will be assignments, and most importantly, there should be discussions. And the discussions, I'm again stressing, could be offline, meaning you tell me, Piyush, we want to speak to you, we want to discuss something, and I'll make myself available. Of course, it would have been nice if all 23 of you were there, but that's okay. Depending upon the SDG, or depending on the assignment, depending upon other factors you want to discuss with me, I'm available. So that's essentially the context, the learning outcomes, and the framework. Now I will pause and have open for questions. Anyone, if you have any questions, please feel free. Don't hesitate. If you ask me questions, at least then I know that you are listening to me. No questions?
Sir, assignments will be like written type or how it will be, sir?
Great question. So, to answer your question, the first assignment is written type, but it will not exceed 2 A4 sheets. I will not load you, sort of writing a report. No, that's not the idea. And as you'll see in the assignment fund at the end of this workshop and session, not the workshop, at the end of this session, it will be sort of a guided one. So we'll talk about it when we go to the homework assignment. But the short answer is it will be written or it could be a small presentation. Either one of them. You have any preference depending upon your workload? You'll tell me now. What kind of assignments would you like to have? Meaning the delivery of it. You want it in writing or a presentation or one-on-one sort of in a workshop, in the session like this, you would like to speak up, we could do that. Only my concern is time, because if we include that, then time will increase. But I'm ready, I'm open to what your preferences or choices are. Anyone?
I think presentation.
You would prefer presentation?
Yeah.
My concern only in that is you'll have to devote more time, because the way the sessions are planned, I'll need 1 hour on those dates. And that's the only opportunity when we could do this, because all of you should be present when this is happening. It is not like, okay, one team presents to me, the other teams are absent. Because remember, there is a lot of peer-to-peer learning in this, which can happen, which will also save your time, by the way. Plus the fact that it is interdisciplinary, so it is important to know what's going on. So how do we address that is my question. Are you willing to come together beyond those dates of 6 sessions for 1 hour for the assignment reporting? You tell me. I don't know what time you have.
Yes, sir, we can do, sir. No problem.
Sorry?
Yes, sir, we can do. We can do the mixed assignments like what you said. We can submit the written type also. Presentation also we can do, sir. After 6 sessions also we can come for 1 hour for presentation.
Okay, Karthikeyan, it's a good thought. The thing is, my plan is that I'll give you the assignment and I'll come back to you in the next session or the session after that. I don't want to sort of keep all the assignments in the end, because the learnings will also happen through assignments. Okay, let's do one thing. In the interest of time, we'll discuss this if we have time in the end and come to a conclusion as to what can be done. Any other questions? Okay. No questions? I'm going to move to the next topic then. I don't want to really take up time. I'm already a little bit beyond the time which I had allocated. So let me discuss the results of the survey. And thanks a lot again for all of you. Most of you, of course, supported. And I'm not going to, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through the questions which were asked, but one of them was, of course, the SDGs of your interest. And I had asked for 3 choices. So let me just quickly go through this slide. So what you see is essentially first, second, third choice plot of that for each of the SDGs, depending on your response, and the total of that. So the red line on top is the total response. And on the y-axis, of course, the number of respondents, the number of you who are interested in that SDG. So the blue line, for example, on the very first SDG, quality education, is the first choice of 8 people out of 23 of you. That's how the plot goes. I think the results are in front of you. Most of the, of course, things which fall in place is the quality education, industry innovation, infrastructure, good health and well-being, clean water to some extent, and then sort of it is on sitting on average about 3 people or 4 people. So that's the outcome of your choices. Now, why did I do this? Of the 17 SDGs, obviously we cannot address each and every one. And this will be done as part of the workshop as well as assignment. We have to choose few. And so you already know from the team formation, because I mentioned it there, these are the 4, or well, industry innovation infrastructure, I put the box wrong. That's not included. The 4 are actually quality education, good health and well-being, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities. Most of you have not taken that as your choice, and yet I have included it here. So the question is why? The reason for this is when you do your campus carbon neutrality, that's a subset of your city or a community, or for that example, district and so on. You can just keep growing it. And I think this sustainable cities and communities, there is a lot of literature. There is a lot of need as far as our nation is concerned in terms of, because as you know, the rural population is moving to the urban landscape and we are struggling. Most of the cities are struggling. It may not be the case with your institute or your location because you are sort of away from the city, but you go to any metro and you will see what is going on. So the reason for choosing this is you will learn things which will allow you to apply to your campus as a live lab, including you can do students projects, get students involved. I'm sort of going ahead of myself, but you will see how those things will get realized once we complete these sessions. So that's the reason it is chosen. And affordable and clean energy, again, the reason is, see, we are all engineers. If you see some of these SDGs, for example, no poverty, right? Of course, we want to make sure that the students know about these things, but we are all engineers. So the question is, what can we do there in terms of elimination of poverty or reduction of poverty? Of course, we can as an individual do something, but we want to apply our learnings, which are essentially in engineering and technology, to solve it. Again, for removal of poverty, yes, you could apply technology. You could apply whatever you have learned to help move the needle on that in your locality. But affordable and clean energy, the reason I have chosen is because if you see the emissions, by the way, let me ask you this and use the chat box just to answer. What do you think? What do you make out when you read the social media, the print media, and everything else? Which do you think is a topic which is grabbing the line? Just write that in chat box. Whatever you individually think, in your view. Go ahead. Karthikeyan said climate change. Great. What about others? My question is clear to you? Shiv Kumar has said global warming. Guys, you'll have to speak up, okay? If my question is not clear to you, you have to tell me, no, Piyush, it is not clear to us. I will make it clear to you. But please give your response. You are very quick in saying yes or no. Anything else? Anyone else? Only two people are responding. Hello? Good health. Yeah, right, whatever. This is not about right or wrong. I just want to understand from you what has been your impression about what is grabbing the lines today in terms of sustainability. The headlines, when I said lines, headlines. Good health. You can repeat if you feel the same thing. I know Karthikeyan and there's climate change, global warming, good health, gender equality. Okay, Usharani, thank you very much. All right. Just try to be quick in future, just in the interest of time, but that's okay. Thanks a lot. So I think you may realize actually the global warming, the climate change, and it is impacting every one of us. Every one of us, the climate change. There's no deniability on that. Not so much in India, but if you see world over, there are all kinds of changes taking place. And if you see some of the outcome which is being predicted, certain nations and certain islands will just vanish. That's a very critical thing. So coming back to why I had chosen these things, affordable and clean energy is essentially carbon dioxide, the greenhouse emissions is the main issue which every country has to tackle of the SDGs. So that's the reason it was chosen. So that's the pre-workshop of survey on this and why I have chosen this. The other question was on the time availability. And I'm very happy that almost about 63% of you can devote 4 hours per week. And that's okay. This was essentially for my understanding so that I give you the assignments which does not stretch you too much. Like I said, we are conscious about the fact that you are fully involved in academic. But I think the important thing again to note here is if you do teamwork, so if there are 4 team members and they are able to spend 4 hours per week, 16 hours is what it comes to if 4 of you are working together. And that's where the teamwork helps. When you're short on time, you can spread out, you can split the work and then come together and deliver the assignment. So I think I'll make sure that all the assignments do not take, when there are team assignments, do not take more than 16 to 20 hours in a week. So that's the reason I took this as an input from you, and it's good. And if you feel, that it's taking too much of time, please feel free to give me feedback. Don't hesitate. If you don't want to put it in a group chat, you can DM me. All right. The expectations from the sessions, which again, I'm thankful to you because a lot of you elaborated in quite a detail. And of all the slides, this is a crowded slide. I prefer not to put too much text on my slide. But I took your input, and it is important for me to talk about this and share with you. I have bucketed them in the 6 things which you see there: relevance, curricula, implementation, application, industry, and self-learning. And this is exactly, I have cut and pasted. I have not made any changes in the way you have written. And of course, I have taken samples which essentially summarize your expectation in each. So of course, on relevance, one of the respondent had asked, how can I contribute to achieve this? To no role of an individual in it. My answer at this point is this expectation will be met. I'm just going to go through what will be met, what will not be met. The other one is on the integration of SDGs and curriculum, learning practical strategies, certainly. Incorporate sustainable principles in engineering education. Again, that's something which you'll be able to do. I won't say at the end of the workshop, but keep working on it. And I'll be available if required by Ramco IT to help you in that, but certainly you would be able to do that. On implementation, practical implementation studies for SDGs, yes. Of course, this question has a big question mark as to which SDG. I think that is equally important. What SDGs? Is it possible that at the end of this workshop, you'll be able to do in all SDGs? No. But certainly the SDGs where your engineering and technical skills could be helped to solve or address that SDG, yes, that would be possible. SDG based project proposal, of course, you have an idea. We can help you. Within IUC, we have other resources who can help you develop that project proposal. So this is not about, just these 6 sessions. We are there to help you in whatever you need. But you will get the basics for you to be able to put that or have develop an idea. On applications, innovative project development, real-time applications, there's something which I'll have to understand more clearly when you say real-time applications. But to answer that question, yes, you will get certain ideas or certain exposure to what could be done. And college students, certainly, there is no question on that. College students you'll be able to do. On industry, the industry, education sector, and community, I can share with you what I know, but recognize one thing. This field has got plethora of literature, okay? And each industry is, of course, addressing it in different ways. Again, I have to come back to the number of sessions. I can only talk about certain industries as to what could be done, but I cannot promise that I will talk across the spectrum. It's not possible. And then finally, on the self-learning, the reason I put self-learning is you can read that the expectation is that in-depth understanding of SDGs, which I already talked about, address that question. Formation of institutional policies to align with SDG. I am not an expert on that, so I can't really cover that. Accreditation framework, existing SDG ranking system in HEI, again, as these are all to do with the regulations, the ranking and so on. We will not be covering this, but with the background which you will develop, you can certainly do self-learning, and I can help you to find the relevant resources. That is something which I can do for you, but that will not be covered as an expectation. So that's essentially what I wanted to say in terms of your expectations, which is important. I asked you that question and you answered it in depth. And it, of course, will require a teamwork. I'll pause again here for any questions. Questions, please. You can ask in chat if you want. Okay. Chandalekha, you've written time consumption. Can you explain that to me, please? I'm not understanding what you mean by time consumption. Chandalekha, can you unmute yourself, please? Please don't hesitate. We are all in a safe environment. We are not. Chandalekha, are you there? Okay, at least tell me yes, I'm there or not there. If you environmental issues, I'm just reading here earlier. Chandalekha, yeah. So just please, don't hesitate. Just tell me what you meant by time consumption in the chat box you have written. Are you referring to the time this workshop will take or the time it will take to learn all these things, or are you referring to something else? She's not speaking up. Do you have your audio with you? Otherwise, all right. I still want to understand what it is. I'll get in touch with you separately because it's important for me to understand this. Okay, I'll chat with you or do something else, Chandalekha. That's okay. There's learning for me here too. So don't think that, I'm an expert in this, so I know everything. No, when you write something like that, which I'm not aware, I would really like to learn. That's not an issue. No questions. Don't tell me everything is clear to you.
Sir,
Yeah, Shiv Kumar, please go ahead.
yes, yes. For example, if our aim of the workshop is we are going to discuss about SDG. Anyway, for example, if I'm going to take a course, I will conduct some prerequisite. So in the same manner, you have conducted the survey.
Mhm.
Uh, in the same way, uh, here before we should aware about Millennium Development Goals. What are the
Mhm.
drawbacks of Millennium Development Goals? Uh, you, you know, I'm considering that is also one of the prerequisite for our audience or participants. So,
Okay.
what is the main drawback of Millennium Development Goals, and then why we bother about what the Sustainable Development Goals? Whether
Okay.
my perspective is correct, sir, whether we should aware or otherwise we need to give some brief what is the main drawback of Millennium Development Goals, and then followed by our main focus of the objective of the
Okay.
workshop is SDG.
Okay. So your question has two parts. One is, of course, you talked about the prerequisites. I should have addressed this earlier. Really, there is no prerequisite for this workshop, to be honest. You all have an expertise in a certain area. Uh, there are certain goals which are required. If we don't do, the consequences for the future generation and even our current generation could be very deadly. So it is important to address that. And of course, the industries are the main stakeholders, so to say, who are going to help us get there. So integration of SDGs and curricula is definitely required. And this is the reason why we are discussing this. So there's no prerequisite. On coming to the second question, which is, what are the sort of drawbacks or what are the differences between Millennium Development Goal and SDGs? I'll have to come back to you on that, Siva. Is that okay?
Okay, okay,
I've noted it down. I'll come back to you. Any other question? Guys, we are short on time, so I'll appreciate if you can respond quickly. Because if you have questions, if you don't have questions, then I'll have to move on. Is that okay? At least let me know. Can I move on? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just say verbally, yeah. I mean, most of you are quiet.
yes, sir.
All right, yeah, great. This is online. If I was in the classroom setting personally, then I could see body language and understand. That's something which is missing here. And that really helps in, being in person, but that's okay. We'll work it out. So I'm going to now move to the, what happened to my slides? The main issue now, which is on the sustainability itself. And it's essentially going to address the part of it, the first learning outcome, which is also for this session, the learning outcome. Let's just understand what is sustainability, what is the relevance and importance of this in person. And I think most of you are aware of SDGs. As you told me, most of you also answered the other question about what are the headline grabbing things. So you're aware about those things. I'm going to share with you a framework which you can see one way of to look at it, the whole issue, to relate it to it. And then let's see how you consider it, or do you think that is something which helps you in understanding the big picture of sustainability? That's really what we are going to discuss today. And there will be a team exercise, which of course through the will help us learn few things about what the whole sustainability issue is. So now, now I will request you to please unmute and answer if you know. These are placement interview questions to students which are being asked today. What is an ecological footprint? Anyone would like to answer that? If you don't answer, and please don't put it in the chat box, please unmute yourself and answer it. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody is ready to answer.
Sir, honestly, I don't know the answers for all these things, sir. If you allow me, I will check it out and tell, sir.
I can. Thank you so much. I'm laughing because not that you don't know it. You don't have to check it out. That's the reason I was saying. I will answer it for you, but not now. I think the main point is the second question. What is difference between gray, blue, and green hydrogen? And by the way, these terms are now not in the technical literature alone. They are actually coming in newspapers. Okay. What is the difference between carbon neutral and net zero state? It is actually being used wrongly at some places. If you look into depth, they are not the same thing. The last one I would like somebody to answer, which is the only country in the world that is carbon negative. I know you will say, I don't know what is carbon negative. What are you talking about? Let me put it this way. That country absorbs more carbon than they emit. Which country is this? The only country on this planet.
Bhutan.
Sorry?
Bhutan.
Correct. Absolutely. And if you look at that country, you will recognize why they are able to achieve it in terms of whatever they produce and how their ecosystem is. So great. Thanks for answering that. The other questions I will answer as I say, but this is not to test you. This is not really to test you whether you know it or not. I think that the message I want to give from this slide is these are the questions being asked to the students. And if we do not do enough to help them understand it, of course, they're not going to get placed. A lot of companies are moving into technologies which helps them reduce their emissions largely. So I'll answer these questions later. The other message which I want to give to you is, again, it involves all disciplines. If we talk about hydrogen, you can say, all right, this is chemical, but it goes beyond chemical actually. Even steel industries are getting into it because steel industry uses a hell of a lot of thermal and electrical energy. They have to figure out a solution. Okay, so that's the other message which I wanted to give. The third message, of course, is just understanding this. What is ecological footprint? And this is something as a concept which we can even apply to us as an individual. Okay, we'll talk about it. I just want to keep this. We'll certainly get the answers to these questions. So I think there's enough motivation for all of us to actually understand this because we are all into academics and it is important for us to answer those questions. By the way, you can stop me anytime you have any question. Let me just, these slides, locations keep changing here and there. What happened? All right, I had to come out of the because it was not going forward. The last message, of course, is which I've been repeating continuously, is it's a multidisciplinary. I think get that thing right. All right. So what is sustainability? One way to look at it is something living in harmony with nature. Okay. Now, the question is, you will say harmony in nature, but how is that going to solve the SDG of no poverty or any other thing? So really, if I want to address SDG, and this is an important difference which you must understand. If I want to address SDG, I should say living in harmony with nature and living in harmony with society. Right now, I am limiting myself to living in harmony with nature. And this is where the sustainability comes in. So there is sustainability development goals, 17 of them. And there is the whole concept of sustainability, sustainable planet, so to say. Okay, so please make that distinction because the word sustainability comes in both. It can be, it can cause a confusion. We are talking about a sustainable planet at this point. Okay, so living in harmony with nature, how? And that's what we're going to discuss more. So all of us have needs, right? And therefore we need products, we need services, we have those needs, and therefore I'm a consumer, I'm consuming those things, and of course, somebody has to produce it. So essentially, the consumption is leading to production of certain products and supply of certain services. Transport being a service, okay, automobile being a product. That's the difference between product and service. It could also be that the production leads to consumption. Anyone can unmute and say, can you give me an example where actually production leads to consumption, other way around? Anyone? Can you think of an example? I gave you an example of consumption leads to production, easier one. You need an automobile, that's a product. You need transport service, that's a service. You need banking service, that's a service. So that's a distinction between product and service, but you need it, and therefore somebody is producing it or supplying it. What about production leading to consumption? Is there a possibility? Anyone would like to answer? No? I'm going to give you an example. Don't get offended and think about it. The beauty product.
Sir, simply, sorry, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Sir, simply, if we are a hotel is an example. They are making food and they are giving it to the customers, or else we can take some accessories.
Mhm.
Real time. That means the daily usage products. Any one of the daily usage products, like an eyeliner, it is a product, and they are giving it to the user. And as a user, I'm consuming it.
Right. So, the production leading to consumption essentially means something which was not needed by a large population, but it was produced, and then through marketing, they created consumers. Do you agree that with Siva? I forgot your name, who was there online right now. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir. Yes.
The easiest example which comes to my mind is the beauty products.
Beauty products, yes, of course.
Yeah.
That's why I said about the eyeliner product.
Right. Very good. Very
Yes.
good. Thank you.
Thank
And
you, sir.
it's a very revealing thing. If you look at the literature, the companies which are involved in the production of beauty products, they consume hell of a lot of water. Okay, so that's the reason it is important to understand that that could happen also too. And I think in either case, you will agree with me that there is residue. It doesn't take too much of thinking to recognize that when I produce something, yes, there is something left out. When I consume something, yes, there is something left out. So one thing, and you can reflect on it now or a later, anything you use resources, it's always going to adulterate the planet. We are going to leave some residue on this planet. The other important thing to understand, because we are talking about living in harmony with nature, nature works on a very different time scale. Trees take years to grow. It's not something which happens overnight. So the scale at which nature is working is very long. And for those of you, and I think most of us, you would have read thermodynamics, the concept of irreversibility, the concept of entropy. When nature is working on a very long time scale, you can understand that the irreversibilities will be minimized, the entropy generation would be less. What are we doing? We are doing everything in a hurry. Okay, so recognize this. The other reason why it is important to understand the time scale is today we are finding out that we have emitted hell of a lot of carbon dioxide, and now we are paying the price. Today, what we are going to do, what will be the impact, we will not even come to know. Maybe years down the road, we'll realize, oh, we messed it up. We messed up the planet. We did this. And you want to correct it at that point, again, it's going to be a long duration effort. It's not something which can just open overnight. So I think it's important to understand these two things. And by the way, you can stop me anytime. If you have a question, just raise your hand, or you can unmute and just ask a question. Okay, don't worry about it. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. The important thing now when we talk about nature, at least in our culture, there are these pancha tattva, and intentionally I wrote it in Hindi or Sanskrit because this is not something new to us as a culture. We recognize these pancha tattvas, Vayu, Jal, Prithvi, Surya, and Akash. And when we talk about nature, these are the main ingredients of nature, so to say. And by the way, when I said living in harmony with nature, it's not just about, the raw material which we are extracting from the earth, but includes everything, okay, including other living creatures. We need to live in harmony with them also. The flora and the fauna, everything is included. So when we talk about these pancha tattvas, I'm just going to say now, what have we done? The Vayu, so to say, the air is polluted with carbon dioxide and methane, the primary two greenhouse gases. Jal, of course, we have adulterated. I use the word adulterate the planet. Sewage, waste. That's direct result of what we have been consuming. Anyone has a question? I saw somebody unmuted. Any question? No? Prithvi, what is happening to the raw material which is being used? It's dumped somewhere. Soil erosion is taking place, again because of same reasons. We are spoiling in many other ways if you just look at land. Going to Surya, I don't know. Like I said, nature works on a very long time scale. And so the repercussions of some of the things which we do, we may not recognize now. The question I ask myself, I don't have the answer. Okay, I would like you also to think, and maybe you will have an answer which we can all share. Is we are extracting solar energy. Of course, the troposphere and the stratosphere of the Earth is getting modified because of a variety of reasons. We don't know what will be the impact. It's essentially Surya in other way is the main source of energy to this planet. If there is an imbalance there in terms of the radiations, whatever are coming, we may have to pay a price. It could happen because of multiple of activities. And when it comes to Akash, I'm sure you would have read about the concern about the satellites. If you look at the count of satellites today, they are humongous. And they are right from small to big. And of course, they're going to lose their life. And we are leaving a lot of debris in the space. And of course, depending upon the location and the gravitational pull of different planets, it will come down one day, or it may even collide. Anything can happen. So that's again something which we have not even able to quantify today as to what could be the possibility. Of course, researchers, if you look at the research papers, you will find research papers in that area too as to what could be the possibility. So the important thing is that we are actually playing with these panchatattvas. There's no question about that. And therefore, the implications of this are known. I think there's no debate on that also. So the question is, of course, what do we do? And this is the whole idea about then sustainability. So there are a couple of messages here I want to leave you with. One is, if we are the consumer as an individual, forget about everything else. As an individual, I'm consuming something, I am definitely responsible for leaving certain residue on this planet. Okay. The second thing is, are there ways in which it can be minimized, right? So the consumption is, of course, one part of the equation. The production is the other part of the equation, and we'll talk about it in a moment. Any questions at this point so far? I'm repeatedly asking because don't hesitate to ask questions. Anything which you disagree with, anything which is not clear to you, please feel free. This is, mutual learning. This is not about one-way traffic. I don't want that to be one-way traffic.
If we understood what is our need versus want, we can balance this sustainability, I think so, sir.
Absolutely right, Karthik. You have actually talked about something which I'm going to talk in 2 slides. Great to hear that. But any other question? So you're right. I agree with you completely. Any other comments, suggestions, questions, disagreements? All right. Like I said, guys, we are short on time. So I'll move on if you don't respond. Respond quickly is all my request to you is. All right. I'm going to talk about an example. So I searched in my head, is there an example where actually we are minimizing waste or having zero waste? My title is slide zero waste because I believe when I say zero waste, it's something which is leftover is not going to really adulterate the planet. That's what I meant by zero waste. It doesn't mean that I'm not throwing anything, but what I'm throwing is something which the planet is not getting it impacted. You are all familiar with coconut tree, right? Again, I'm not going to read through this, but do you agree that this is an excellent example where each and every part of this tree is used in some productive way and most of it is eco-friendly, which means if it is left on the soil or on the earth, it is something which is not going to harm the earth. You can take a minute to go through it. You are in Madurai, you're all familiar with this. And I hope you have also seen some of this in the communities around you, how villagers actually beautifully use even the leaves of this tree to create products. And if you look at the things which are being produced from this tree, products, charcoal, fertilizer, food, heat. Heat, can you give me an example of heat? Anyone?
Sir, can you repeat the question, sir? I couldn't understand.
Sure, thanks, Karthikeyan, very good. So this is the tree of life coconut trees, and I have listed all the products here. And on the right hand side, I have sort of put it in the bulleted items. From this tree, what are the things which are being produced or which are being used? Heat is one of them I have listed there. I just wanted to ask, can you give me an example of how a coconut tree is being used to develop heat or to generate heat?
In general, if you are burning, it has calorific value. If you are burning, definitely it liberates heat, sir. Heat.
Yes, excellent. So we all are agreeing that if you combust, and actually if the coconut, what do you call that? The covering of it, I'm missing the name. It's very inflammable. But the question, Shiv Kumar, is when I combust something, I'm emitting carbon dioxide. I hope you understand, all of you understand that, right? When I take carbon, any hydrocarbon, combust it with oxygen, I get carbon dioxide and water, chemistry equation, which we learned in high school. So if I do this, I'm going to generate carbon dioxide. And I said, it's not then it's not eco-friendly, right, Siva and others? So the reason I raise that question is there a technology which actually allows me to use this without emitting carbon dioxide? We have mechanical engineers here. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but others may also know it. Are you aware of a technology which allows you to do this? No? Yes or no?
Coconut shells are burned for mineral water plant.
Right. When you say burnt, that's combustion, right, Karthik?
Yes, sir.
That is emitting carbon dioxide. That's not good. Okay. You've heard of biomass gasifiers, and this is how we are going to learn this. I'll introduce you to some of the things you might have come across this, but now you can make a clear distinction as to how that technology is helping. A biomass gasifier is partial combustion. When you combust carbon, hydrocarbon with oxygen, combustion gives you carbon dioxide and water. If I control that combustion through partial oxidation, I get carbon monoxide and hydrogen, which together is called synthetic gas. I have solved the problem through technology. And there are biomass gasifiers working in India for both heat, which is thermal applications, as well as electricity. Okay, so this is where the technology plays a role in order to solve the problem. Any other question? Anything else? You have a suggestion, you have a comment? All right.
If it is being subjected to microbial decomposition, by that time also it liberates heat.
Yes. So that's basically you're talking about the other one is the biomass gasifier, which is partial oxidation. The other is the biofuel, so to say, derived from this, right? Which largely, by the way, is methane. And when you combust methane, the key word is combust. I'm doing combustion. Of course, it will produce carbon dioxide. But that is also the case with natural gas. Natural gas is nothing but methane, right? So unless we do something, an alternate fuel, and if we go back to my placement questions, hydrogen. But even there is a green, there is gray, there is blue. There's a distinction there because each one of them have got a certain footprint of carbon. And we'll discuss about that. So yes, a very good observation, Siva. Anything else? Anyone? Okay, I'm just looking at the time. I'm going to move on. And this is something I think Siva mentioned. So let's look at supply and demand. We talked about consumption and production and consumption. Both of them are leading to certain footprint, so to say, ecological footprint. We'll talk more about it on this planet, which is not good. So we are basically taking natural resources and our demand of our fluids, cores, water, house, etc. And today we have got industries, all kind of things which essentially take that raw material, the natural resources, and convert it to something which all of us need. What is happening in the process? So I have just, in a very succinct manner, put that equation there that you're taking natural resources, you've got conversion inefficiencies, which you have all studied in thermodynamics. There's certainly a residue left, which most common, if you want to relate to, is emissions of some form or the raw material waste. And that is consumption. And then there's a consumption waste also. So it's not just that I'm taking the product, I'm also creating waste in use of that products. So the message here, which is the takeaway, is responsible consumption is one part of the equation when we want to achieve sustainability, which is what Siva alluded to earlier. But before that, do you think anything is missing in this equation which I have put down there? Anyone? No? Okay, I'm going to ask you a question if you don't have any issue with that equation. I have an issue, even though I put it up there. Not completely. But let's take example of solar PV. What is the natural resource I'm using there? Sun, right?
Solar radiation.
Right. Conversion inefficiencies, of course, are there. But, today, most of the ones which are being used have got a very low efficiency, conversion efficiency. Up to 20% is available, but of course, there's a cost factor there. What are the residue I'm leaving? In the process of conversion, nothing. Now I want you to think, am I leaving a residue otherwise?
I think that solar panels,
Yes.
that is residue.
Absolutely right. So please understand this. When you're looking at this, it's about complete life cycle of the product. Very important to understand. Life cycle. From natural resource, I take a raw material, translate to a product, I consume that product. What is happening at each stage is extremely important, because we are doing something bad as far as living in harmony with nature is concerned. Okay. And then consumption plus consumption waste. And this is where, as an individual, this is also important to understand. As an individual, I have complete control on my consumption. I have complete control on what waste I generate. That's an individual responsibility. Okay. On the demand side is the industry largely, whether small scale, medium scale, large scale, whatever. And they have to do certain things collectively as an industry to reduce their footprint, whether it be ecological footprint or the carbon footprint. Ecological has to do with the entire planet, just for that you to at that time to relate to. Carbon footprint has to do only with carbon emissions. That's the difference. Just understand at this point that, yeah, there is a footprint being generated, which is adulterating the planet. Okay. I think that important distinction is what I'll expect you to understand. Any comments, suggestions, discussions, disagreements? Please go ahead. So, like I said, this gives you a framework to sort of understand sustainability in the broad term. There is a consumption side of the equation, there's a production side of the equation, there's a supply and demand. And at each stage, the question is, what are we doing to the planet? What are we doing to the nature? Is that clear to all of you? You can put it in the chat. Yes, no. Okay. Gerald has said no. Gerald, oh, you've changed it to yes. Okay. Don't worry if you've not understood. Okay. You don't have to change it. It's something which I want to make sure that I do the right things for you to make. It's not you, it's me if I'm not able to make you understand. So don't worry. I'm not going to get offended. I want to make sure that you understand this, because everything will fall in this framework. No? No questions?
Sir, have you think modern technologies, today's modern technologies give anything relevant solutions for this sustainable development?
Certainly, Karthik.
Yes.
There is a lot of efforts going on in almost each and every industry. Oh, by the way, very good. It prompted me to something which I have not shared with you. This field of sustainability, okay, I'm again using sustainability, not SDG. This field of sustainability, which is a subset of SDG, as I related to you earlier, is rich in data, extremely rich in data. So we have got our CS and AI and DS friends here. I wish I could share. I will share with you the number of publications which are coming out in the subject of sustainability using AI has skyrocketed. I'll share the actual data with you and you will see it's rich in data. So it helps everyone in terms of, the other revolution which is taking place is, of course, the industry 4.0. Now they are talking even about 5.0. But it's these two areas of sustainability and the digital revolution which is taking place gives you on your campus ample opportunities to leverage both for the learning on your campus, whether it be you, me, or the students. Okay, it's a beautiful thing as far as this area of sustainability is concerned. So, Karthik, yes, I digressed a little bit. We can talk about steel, you can talk about cement, you can talk about, of course, energy, renewable energies, solar energy, wind energy, tidal energies, a lot of work is going on. There are many technologies which are being looked into. The existing refineries, which typically produce your hydrocarbon fuels, which is petrol, diesel, gases, LNGs, and so on, they are going to be converted into hydrogen-based refinery. Okay, and hydrogen is a clean fuel because there's no carbon in it. So If time permits, we'll talk about it. Otherwise, we can have even one-on-one call or a group of people who are interested in this. We can do it offline anytime. Did I answer your question, Kat?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to move on. What's the time? My slide gets stuck. Okay, there it is now. Okay, I mean, I had essentially a session for questions. So still we have time. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
If
Chat,
if we look at our ancient people lifestyle, we have any solution for this sustainable development, sir?
we have any solution. I'll give you my personal view, Karthik. You are absolutely right. Our forefathers knew very well how to live in harmony with nature. Very well. And I can debate with any one of you on this. We lost it. If you just look at, I'll give you an example, and all of you. What was the material of construction which our forefathers used? Stone, lime. Was it cement? And by the way, all those forts are still standing. It was natural material without making any changes to it except maybe chopping it off, which again goes back to earth. But the material of construction were completely eco-friendly. Agree or disagree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Highly agree.
I'm just giving you one example. Today in rural India, people pray to their well, and I'm sorry, I mean, that's something which I get offended. People think it's some ritual they are performing, it's something which they don't know. It's not so. They knew very well the importance of water. The Panch Tattvas were regarded as such, and the ancient wisdom knew the importance of it. They knew how to live in harmony with nature. It is we who have forgotten. If I go to rural India today, I still see certain practices which are sustainable. They don't waste water. They have a kitchen guard next to their house. They recycle that water. One way to interpret it is, oh, they can't afford a pump or running water, this or that. Agreed. That's one way of looking at it. But if you look at their behaviors and their lifestyle, it's sustainable, much more sustainable than we in the urban landscape. It's a very good topic, something which we can debate on, and something I think we should propagate actually. Yeah, you wanted to say something.
Yes, sir. I think we lose our like those lifestyle today due to this technology, sir. In my mind, that is the only one question, basic question.
Right. So you're right. I think it is something which we did because partly there's a need. We needed certain things, but partly also because of greed. Okay. And that's where the responsible consumption part is an important equation, an important aspect of sustainability. We tend to, by and large, focus only on production. Okay, minimize, do whatever you may. But yes, technology is getting transferred. To give you an example, most of you would have heard about additive manufacturing or 3D printer. Yes or no? Just say yes.
Yes,
Unmute
yes,
Yes,
your-
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is that? Subtractive manufacturing was giving you, so much of waste. With additive manufacturing, 3D printer, there is no waste. So yes, technologies are being worked out, but the critical thing is the impact of all this, because the nature works in such a long time scale, will not come immediately. So we are going to do some damage anyway. We have done the damage. Now the question is, how do we minimize it? And the other question is, what are we doing at present, which is not going to make some impact 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road? I think those two questions are something which we all need to reflect on. Okay? Can I move forward?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir.
All right, so we are going to do now a team exercise. Sridhar, are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, can you please create the rooms now? I will
Yeah,
brief
yeah.
them on.
The
Already
rooms
done,
are
is it?
ready. Rooms
Okay.
are ready.
Okay, I'll brief them. So, folks, don't go and join the rooms right now because I'll have to come out of the slide so that I can speak to each one of you. I'm going to brief you on the team exercise first, and then I'll come out of the slide view, and that's where you can start exercise. Okay. So, the team exercise is as follows. I'll talk about what are those numbers on below the title slide later. You see three pictures here. The first one is, of course, you can relate to are the stems of the neem tree. The leaves are showing there. The second one is toothpaste along with the brush. The third one, these two you are very familiar with. The third one is something which has come out. The toothpaste is gone, but there is a tablet which you put in your mouth and you do brushes. Okay, you do toothbrush, something which we do every morning. So here are the three products which can be used for the same function. Okay, we are not going to get into the effectiveness of each one of them. For the time being, let's say all of them are effective. Okay, but there are three different products. You're with me? As
Yes,
a
sir.
team, and we
Yes.
have formed a team, and you're going to join the respective rooms. As a team, what you have to do is the first question which you have to answer is which of the three products have minimum impact on the environment? Okay. The second question which you have to answer is the impact, whichever you come up with, should be quantifiable. Okay. So I know you have not gone through the entire workshop and all, but think on your own that how could you quantify whatever may be the impact. And think also about an approach that you will follow to establish the value for that quantifiable. There are certain important things which will come out if you reflect on this. The way you're going to do it is number one, you're going to get into each one of the rooms. I had shared that thing, room one, who are the participants, room two, Sridhar has created those rooms so you can join there. It's a think, share, and then report out exercise. Each one of you in each team will think on your own for 5 minutes. That's the five number below the title. Then you will share whatever individually you thought with other team members. That's about 12 minutes. One of you during that discussion will also have to make some notes because there's a report out. All five teams will report out. Each one of you will take 4 minutes. And there's no presentation, nothing. Just make notes and orally report out. For each one of you will take 4 minutes. Is that clear? Just say yes or no. Anyone
Yes,
who is
sir.
not clear, tell me, no, sir, I'm not clear. All clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Clear, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna,
But
I'll put this slide back. I'm struggling here a little bit with the Zoom. As I said, I'm doing it for the first time, so that's okay, I'll learn. I think I'll stop sharing. And then I want to see each one of you in a room. Sridhar has created the rooms. So if you can please go to, okay. Sridhar, can you just help us?
Yeah, the rooms are open.
Okay. So please join. So room one participants are listed. Please join. Okay. When you're doing this, I just need a short bio break. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Thank you. Yes, I'm back at my workplace. Have you all joined the rooms?
Most people have.
Most people have, okay. I can join any of the rooms and see all the participants, right, Sridhar?
Right. Just open the breakout room box and you will get an option to join.
Okay, where's the breakout room box? I should have known this. Many?
It'll be 4 squares.
Okay, that's whiteboard, it says. Okay, I see it in the menu. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarat Sridhar. I'm going to All of you should be in respective rooms. Revati, Santhil, Rajalakshmi, and Jai Geeta. You should be joining one of the rooms, no?
Some of them are joined from 2 devices. So I think they are already in the rooms. Except Rajalakshmi.
Sridhar, a quick question. When they are in the rooms, I can communicate and they will all hear, right, without joining the room?
No, you have to join the room. Otherwise,
Oh,
you have to type in a broadcast message.
and where is that? That's okay. I visited all the rooms. They didn't have any questions, so I'm fine with that.
Okay. Next to the close all rooms button, there is a broadcast button.
Okay.
when you open the breakout window.
Okay. Breakout window has to be open. Okay.
Right.
Broadcast is there. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So whenever you want to close it, you can close it, and they'll have 30 seconds to exit.
Okay. I can close all the rooms. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Right. Whenever you want. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks a lot. I'm just going to step out, Sridhar, for just grabbing a coffee. Okay.
Sure.
If anyone ask questions or have anything, just tell them I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. Great. Thanks a lot. I hope you didn't run out of time. I did realize it's kind of difficult for me to go through all the rooms. I'll plan it better next time. And also, some of you are actually started discussion without individually thinking. So we'll take care of it in the next time. So without wasting time, which team would like to go first? Just orally reporting the answer to those two questions. Please raise your hand.
Team 3, team 3.
Please go ahead, Karthik.
Yeah. Sir, with that team, what you shown in that figure. So figure 1 is the most preferable because it is a naturally available and it is good for the health. It is related to the third theme, that is the good health, and it is biodegradable when compared to the second and the third one, and in the health point of view also. And it is naturally available, that picture 1, that is the neem sticks. And if we go for the second and third category, we need to go for the manufacturing process that need consumption much amount of the electricity power and transportation manpower. So everything which is related to the one SDG goal. Then naturally available, that neem sticks. And while manufacturing the toothpaste and brush, which are harmful to our environment, is not biodegradable. It will take much amount of the years to degrade that. But neem sticks, within few, I think so, within a few months it gets degrade naturally. And
Right.
while doing the manufacturing process, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to interrupt you, Karthik, 2 minutes. So if you can if you can move to the second question. So you found, okay, neem leaves are most minimum impact. What else? The second question, what will be response?
Yes, sir.
What is your response to second question?
Second question, that is what I am quantified that, sir. Based on the degrading point of view, health point of view, then energy consumption, availability, then that manufacturing process of the toothpaste and the brushes, which in turn affect the aquatic lives because of some chemicals during the manufacturing processes.
Okay, so
Yes.
you've sort of described, but the parameters are essentially, if I understand, you're saying emissions to the water, the adulteration of the water, the electricity consumption, raw material, and so on. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Anything else which I'm missing out or others are missing out, which you wanted to say? No?
Swapmar sir and Dinesh sir want to add?
Yes, sir. We have correlated, we think, and shared our views about it. So this particular issue is what related to which SDGs. Uh, so we have linked.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great. Very good. Excellent.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
We have identified that six SDGs are related to this. So especially we have preferred good health and well-being. Especially here, it creates a water pollution in the sense clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy,
Okay.
SDG 7, and then responsible consumption and production. That there is
Okay.
12th SDG, climate
Okay.
action, and then partnerships for goals. Okay, these are all the
Very good.
SDGs correlated with the theme of that.
Okay.
Sir.
Very good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who wants to go next?
So team
Team
2 we will present.
Team 2, Karthik, and please go ahead. And just in the interest of time, if it is something which is again covered by other teams, you want to add something to it, please do that first.
Sir, actually you asked, we are also speaking on to the neem tooth sticks, sir. When you asked about the parameters, what are the parameters you told, second question. So I'm
Right.
adding the points there. So carbon footprint is minimal, sir, when we are going for the stick. And then water consumption is very low. Then it is not involving with any industrial process. So water contamination and water pollution, those problems are not there. And it is not using any chemical, synthetic chemicals. So again, there is no industrial process. So we are not giving any adulteration to the water.
Okay. So I think, yeah, the neem is preferred. Of the other two products, which will be the second rank for you in terms of
Sir,
minimum impact?
tablets, sir.
Tablet, okay.
Yeah,
And
it-
why do you
it-
say
it-
why do you say that?
Sir, because it is not having tube. It is not coming in the tube.
Is
Sir,
it not coming in?
that toothpaste tube, sir. That packaging.
Okay, so if the package is displayed there, it's a glass bottle or plastic. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Anything
plastic
else?
is, that's also.
Lower
Okay.
water consumption
Okay.
compared to toothpaste. It's lower water consumption.
All right. All right. Good point. All right. Let's move to the. So we have covered team 2 and 3. Who's the next one? Please go ahead. Who wants to go? Team 1?
Sir, team 1, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead, Vignesh.
Sir, what is our discussion is first option is best, sir, actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So that's the ranking. You're agreeing with the ranking of other team? 1, 2, 3? Hello?
Vignesh, sir, your voice is not audible. Vignesh, sir.
Vignesh, you're not audible. Can someone else take over from Vignesh in the team? Okay, we'll see if he gets it fixed. Let's move to team 4.
Sir, we also discussed with some aspects, production and packaging, chemical usage, and degradable, formal, and user friendly. So based on that, we give some ranking. First image.
So do you agree? Just interest of time, do you agree with the other team 1, 2, 3 rankings, or there's a disconnect? So first is neem, second is tablet, third is toothpaste. That's their ranking in terms of minimum impact.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's it. That is what we identified.
Let's move to the quantifiable parameters question.
So neem sticks will produce a minimum impact in environment.
No, that is understood, Ramesh.
Yeah,
So in the
that is
interest of
okay.
time, I'm saying the second question. What are the just name the quantifiable parameters, emissions, whatever it is. I think the team 1 covered some of it. So if there is anything else you want to add to that, no?
No, sir. No, that is
Okay,
correct. No.
perfect. Team 5, please go ahead. Who's going to report? Hello.
Sir.
Yeah, Devastaya, please go ahead. Team 5.
Satya. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, we didn't disagree with the previous teams, but our discussion is nothing but it is difficult to it is difficult to provide neem stick to the entire community, entire human community.
Right.
So we discussed that bamboo toothbrush along with the toothpaste. We didn't choose that tooth tablets, sir, because as we discussed, it is quite expensive and it is highly difficult to provide it to the entire human community again.
Good point, Savasti. This is what I want actually. I want you
As,
guys to think. Go ahead. Sorry.
actually, I disagree with them, sir. That's correct. Actually, neem is a good thing. Everything is okay. But in case, while considering the entire population, it is difficult to provide neem stick to the entire population. So that
Right.
only we moved to toothpaste.
Okay. Okay. You are sort of concluding that that's a better option in terms of N.
Yes,
That's
sir.
okay. In terms of quantifiable parameters, anything else you want to add besides what has been already spoken?
No, sir. Quantifiable
Okay,
things,
thank
all
you.
the SDGs will cover. Okay,
Thank you. I'm rushing you through because I'm looking at the clock. So Vignesh, you were not audible. Can you come back, Vignesh? We couldn't hear you fully. Yeah.
Sir, am I audible now, sir?
Yes, you are audible. So very quickly, in terms of ranking, do you agree with the previous teams or you have a different point of view?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, our forefathers were used neem sticks, sir. But from that, we have actually moved out, sir. So
Right.
better option will be third one, sir, because the toothbrush will be made from bamboo, so it can also be it can easily decompose.
Right.
And there is no plastic preservative, so it will be better, sir.
Okay.
But what may be the another impact is when we go for toothbrushes with wood stick, we have to consider the deforestation parameters also, sir.
Right. Right. Good point. Okay. All right. We have covered all the 5 teams. It's very, very interesting. You know, I think when I heard all of you, you've really considered different aspects of it, which is very good. And I think the purpose of this exercise was essentially to draw that as a lesson. So let me just share my slides. I know I'll have to correct myself in future about these team exercises, but that's okay. We are all learners here. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Oops. Yeah. So, of course, the very first thing in terms of learning is when you look at the impact, actually it is journey from raw material to disposal, right? And all of you did consider that. One of the team members spoke elaborately on this in terms of the entire life cycle, so to say, of the product. I think that's an important learning. Now, the solution space. Of course, one of you said neem, but it cannot be supplied. Very well point. All of others of you say that, okay, neem can be, you raised the point of deforestation. But I think the solution space also includes behavioral changes, you know. By the way, the neem leaves are, the neem stems are available on Amazon. Okay. You can order it at home. It's available. But you think people are going to change their behavior? Big question mark, right? It requires awareness. It requires education. You could do a product change. Okay, of the three options, the last option is something which has come out as a result of what is the issue with the entire toothpaste. Okay, on the right hand side, you see a picture, right? I have given the reference if you are interested in more details. It's a very complicated thing. You know that the toothpaste, I did not know this till I read this. The toothpaste tube has got a lining inside it because the paste, if it gets exposed to UV, the efficacy goes away. It actually destroys the whole product. So the packaging of it is very complex. And a result of that lining which they give, you can't really recycle this toothpaste. Meaning, so you know we are coming to now the terminologies of reduce, recycle, reuse. Now there are other things which are added. We'll talk about that. But it's a good exercise so that you get exposure to all these things. So it's not easy to replace, you know, you want to package the toothpaste with another packaging because the toothpaste itself gets degraded if exposed to UV light. That's a constraint. So you have to really, when you do a product redesign, you'll have to really go into details of each and every aspect. It's important. And of course, the measure of impact, a lot of you talked about emissions. But you know, the terminology which is being used is carbon intensity, which is essentially the total emissions per GDP. Okay, that's the carbon intensity because they are correlated. We'll talk about more on that. And of course, the other learning is, you know, does the number of steps in processing of a product. It's an important thing because at each step, you're going to have issues. There will be a residue. There will be issue of conversion efficiencies if you're actually trying to transform the product. So a simple exercise like this on a simple product, you actually did all of those things. You did think about various aspects. The main message I want to leave with you is that this exercise teaches you what sustainability involves. It's not so easy. And we as engineers and technologists have to look for solutions which are expertise. So now there's a design for sustainability. A lot of institutes have introduced that course. There's also life cycle management. We have some business colleagues here with us. Life cycle management is a subject which is you know they teach in the business area, but of course you can relate to it. So those are the essentially the learnings. Anyone else wants to add anything which I'm missing out? Or any questions, any suggestions, any comments? No? Hello? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. We have 5 more minutes. I'm going to move to the next slide, and I'm not going to exceed the time, okay? So let's do one thing. I was just thinking, this assignment number 1, I'm going to skip for the time being because I want to summarize the learnings from this session in the remaining 5 minutes. I'm going to email it to you, the assignments in a Word file by evening today. Okay. And I wanted to answer questions here. So you read through that assignment. If you have any difficulty, if you need clarifications, if you want to understand it better, just ping me on WhatsApp. If there is more than one of you, I can even have a Zoom call of 10-15 minutes to explain it. Okay. So we can do it either of those ways, whatever you, I don't mind answering questions in multiple people, multiple settings, but if possible, you can, this is an individual assignment, by the way. Okay. I just want to open the first line. It will be due for submission on March 20th. Okay. And all you have to do is pick a course that you teach and you have to answer 6 questions in 2 A4 sheets. Please read the questions carefully. I will share it with you in a Word file. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And please, if you do not understand even a single question or anything on the assignment, please approach me. Okay? I don't want you to sit and assume. Approach me because I want you to do the right things. We all want to do the right things. I am ready to put that effort on my part. So then let's move on to the last part of it, is what have we learned today? And I, rather than me telling you, I would like to hear from you, and I'm going to actually stop sharing now. Go ahead. Anyone who wants to start in terms of what has been the learning from this session for you? Let's be quick. We have 11:57, maybe 5 minutes, 2 minutes over time. And is anyone of you having classes at 12? No? Guys, speak up. Unmute yourself.
So next class will be start from, I think, 12:20.
Okay, all right. So let's quickly just share whatever you have learned today. Be open about it.
Learned that balanced equations, that natural resources minus conversion inefficiencies minus residues, which is equivalent to that consumption and consumption based. That balance of that supply and demand in order to live that living in harmony with nature. That is the important key takeaway from this session, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Thank you.
sir, sustainability, we got to look at from the raw material to the final product. In each and every stage, how the impact it is creating on the planet, we got to look into that. That is very important when we are looking at sustainability. So that is one point I want to say. And second point is that that the responsible consumption is very important. We need to know the our needs and wants. So where we need to, I mean, we got to be careful on that. So
Right.
we have to be responsible in consumptions.
Right.
At that point, I learned.
Thank you. See, we have got a few people who are speaking up, which is excellent, but I would like others also to participate. You want me to call your names? I really don't want to do that. Some of you have been extremely quiet during the entire workshop. Let me be at random from the list here. So, Revati, would you like to share what has been your learning? Revati, can you unmute yourself? He's not there. Revati, calling one, twice, thrice. Okay, let's move to Davis Sri. You want to share your learnings, Davis Sri? I want you to participate in this. No? Anyone else? Looks to me like people are not ready to speak up. I want you to participate. Discussions will make this forum so much rich in terms of learning. Anyone else wants to add any other learning? No? Okay. One of the things which we didn't drill into because of the shortage of time, but I think you will also realize that the quantification of some of the parameters in terms of what is the residue, or let me use the word residue because it encompasses everything. It's at times difficult. It's not that easy when you come to quantification of, okay, because that's the only way you can actually measure the impact on the sustainability or sustainable parameters, so to say, to identify those parameters, because then only you can work to reduce them or establish that, yeah, it works because this product was having these parameters impacting. One of you did that association with SDG is excellent. But then I redesigned the product. I'm just giving you an example. I need to establish, right, that this was the original product. These were the parameters. And now here are the parameters which have got the minimum impact on it. So that's the other learning I want you to go with this. In our next session, we will talk about STEM. But before we close, would you all prefer the 1 hour session from 10 to 11 or 11 to 12? What is that which you would prefer? At least now speak up.
Sir, actually, we have hours basis, sir. So first hour will be 9 to 9:45, and second hour will be 9:45 to 10:30, and the third hour will be 10:50 to some other time. So if we choose something in between 10:30 to 12:20, it will be better.
Okay, 10:30 to 12:30. So
yes,
can we keep it from 11 to 12?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is better.
Is 11 to 12 working better for you? All of you, please speak up. I
Yes,
won't know
sir.
otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, all the remaining sessions are 1 hour. We'll keep it from 11 to 12. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you for the
Thank
understanding,
you.
sir.
Thank you. And
Okay,
there have been certain learnings for me which I wanted to share with you. I will correct it in the next session, especially the team exercise. We'll have to organize it in a better way. Thanks a lot again for your time. And I really want you to have open communication with me on WhatsApp, email, call, Zoom call, whatever it is. The bottom line is, at the end of 6 sessions, I want to make sure that your time is well spent. That's a huge responsibility that I have. Okay? Thanks a lot for joining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.